are you? I'm just here in the studio by myself. I rocked up today. You're not here. And then you call me and I don't know.
Is everything okay? You going to survive?
Yeah, I'm fine. I've been surviving. I've been feeding your dogs, which is a whole nother story altogether. No, that's been really good. But you're just, obviously you're in some sort of hotel room.
Look, I mean, we need to address something off the top. Yes, one, I'm not in the studio with you. Fine, that's number one. But number two, I didn't hear what intro song we just played. What did we just play? Because we said I was going to change.
Yeah, it wasn't Southern River Band. You know what? You said, give me a week. I'll do it easy. No problems. I messaged you today. Hey, Will, by the way, what song are you picking? It's a big new song, your big new initiative, your big thing that you want to do for BackChat. Donuts. Didn't get anything from you. So I said, screw it. We're going with what works, what the people want. I saw a couple of comments on YouTube saying, don't change the song. People have been doing one of those things where you sign up online for a petition.org thing, don't change the song. Saw was trending for a while.
You're setting up your burner accounts again, are you?
So no, you haven't done anything about the song, so we're staying with it. So until you do anything, we're going to keep with the OG.
Okay, sounds good. Now I'm in Mandurah. I'm in it's my what is it? I don't know what it is. It's my love area. I just really love this area. It's very much like Geelong to Melbourne. So I'm down in Mandurah. We did do an episode a long time ago from a very similar venue, Seychelles, Mandurah. I've been staying at Smith's Beach Resort, but now I'm in Mandurah. So I've just been all BackChat, certainly no holidays or beach or flooding anyone else's Instagram with reels of us on holidays at the beach. It's been a bit full on, hasn't it? Yeah, it's full on.
Yeah. You've become this influencer. It's a bit yuck, to be honest.
Yeah, I apologise for everyone. I apologise for myself in advance for any further influencer type areas as well. You are on BackChat, that's right. Dan Const, Will Schofield. You know where to follow us, BackChat _. There's been a bit of movement in the BackChat land this week. We're going to get into that pretty close and pretty soon. BackChatpodcast.com.au for all of your stuff, everything you need. Patrons, you know where to go. I think we've delivered a bit of extra stuff for the patrons this week, Dan.
We have. If you were a patron and then you cancel because you're like, it's not worth it. I'm just saying it might be worth you coming back home. Yeah. There's a bit of extra stuff. We've been releasing things especially early. You get little bonus sneak peeks of things. We've been chatting for extra afterwards, after episodes and releasing that only to patrons. So it's very good.
I stopped off.
I might sign up myself.
I stopped off down at Shelter Brewing, down at Bustleton while we've been down here. Guys looked after us. They gave us a little bit of beer, but that may or may not be gone and may not be making it back to BackChat Studios. So they are looking after us and they look after our patrons as well. Some discount codes across Shelter, Whippersnapper, Margaret River Roasting Co, Bluebet, Dean Bradley Real Estate. We've got some new announcements there in that area too with some of the charitable work that we're doing. And of course, Leaderville Cameras, where we get all of our stuff. It allows us to do podcasts from Mandurah, I suppose. That's what Leaderville Cameras does.
That's right. They connect people from around the world. I think that's one of their slogans. No, it's not, but it could be.
All right. If we're talking about slogans, what is this company? Straight off the top, let's get into the Golden Arches. What's their slogan? I'm loving it.
I'm loving it. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, I don't know if I'm loving it, McDonald's, because, well, clearly you're still making the filet fish. I want to change the slogan to I don't know if I'm loving it because they're rolling out Monopoly again. It feels like Monopoly just rolls on 12 months a year now. Yep. Have you ever met anyone? This is a question I want to pose to our listeners. Have you ever met anyone who has won a major prize in McDonald's Monopoly?
I reckon I've won a small fries, maybe a small frozen Coke. I don't know anyone who hasn't won more than food, put it that way. And the small prizes after food are like, what, a Bose speaker or something? I don't know.
Well, there's like, you can win a car, you can win hotel like stays, you can win houses, I think, but there's like one available. So there's lots of things I want answers to. One, do they even include Monopoly tickets on filet fishes, or are they that poorly selling that they don't even, do they, you would know, do they include them?
Yes, they do. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's a staple of McDonald's. They wouldn't change it. I I've heard a rumor that they do put the good prizes on the fillet of fish boxes. So maybe it is worth going out there and buying a few.
Yeah, that would be the only way to fucking sell those absolute putrid pieces of rubber they put between two pieces of bread and inverted commas.
Steamed bread. Yep.
No, disgusting. I want to know if anyone knows anyone that's won a major prize and a bit of proof to go along. Can you hit us up on BackChat _? I'm just very interested and intrigued. I know that's a weird way to start this show, but
that's all right.
Been discussing
Talkback radio.
Oh yeah, I've been discussing it at length, and it just kind of been bugging me. And I feel like we've got the audience now that we may know someone that knows someone that knows someone's dog's owner that was an uncle of someone. Maybe knew that someone had won something.
A couple of things with that. Like often when I do get McDonald's and I get the Monopoly stickers, I start to peel it back, and as soon as I see a bit of color, like it's the Strand or whatever, like I just chuck it. Like I don't keep it. I'm only looking for free instant wins.
So you could be throwing cars out.
Exactly. That's what I reckon. I'm sure there's in the tip, like if you were somehow to rummage through and find all Monopoly McDonald's tickets, I'm sure there'd be some winners in there.
Didn't you say there's a documentary about this?
There is McMillions. So it's like it's a HBO documentary. It's very good. It goes back to like the original days in the 90s, I think, where they started this competition. And some ex-rogue police officer was involved with the mob, and he was like getting the secret tickets and like selling them off. And it's very good. McMillions. If you're interested in it, it's very good, and it explains how like basically this one guy was responsible for about $24 million of prize money being given out to people because he had all the one-off tickets. You
started a basketball podcast, did you not, last week? Did I see that happen? What's going on?
We did. The BackChat basketball show. It's live. Creative. It's up. Very creative. When people start podcasts, especially sport, you always try to think like, what's some clever thing I can call it? Like with AFL, right? Maybe it's like the 50-meter penalty or something. Like I don't know. You're calling them like these. That's a bad name. But like the bounce, or like I don't know, some dodgy thing that's like trying to be a clever way of talking about a sport. But I thought, let's just keep it simple. What is it? It's a basketball show. And it's from BackChat, so it's the BackChat basketball show. We had our first episode. It was very good. It's on its own feed. I can't stress that enough. It's on its own Spotify feed. So if you're a BackChat listener and you're like, oh, why didn't I see that? It's because it's on its own feed. Now, I will say episode 1 did get put on the BackChat feed just as a little taster. So back on everything I just said.
You're a bullshit artist.
But it does live on its own feed, so go find it, subscribe to it. Myself hosts it alongside Ben Malice. He's a basketball writer and just a mate of mine who I did meet on a blind date, actually. It was a platonic blind date after we started following each other on Twitter. And also Greg Hire.
No, you may not continue. You may not. You met on a blind date.
Yeah, so we were following each other on Twitter, and I was like, oh, this guy's cool. I sent him a DM, and I was like, hey, mate, would you like to catch up for a beer? And he's like, cool. So, I mean, it's sort of a blind date, but sort of not. And so we met at the Garden one day after not knowing each other at all. Oh, my God. And we had a beer.
You're lucky to be alive. You realise that. You can't go meeting people off Twitter that you just happen to be following each other. You don't know who you're walking into there.
Well,
right.
What actually happened was, so we had a beer on the Friday, and then the Saturday I went back to the Garden, and he was there again. We didn't plan for that. So we hung out twice in 2 days. We become very good friends. And so now we host a podcast together alongside Greg Hire, former Perth Wildcats. He's a 4-time legit champion. He's probably the guy that I would sort of equate you to most in your sports, like solid role player,
charismatic.
And like he's never been the best on the team, but he hustles, he plays hard. And in 2018, I think I saw him single-handedly turn a basketball game around in the finals for the Wildcats to win the grand final against Melbourne United. Yeah, he came in, took charges. I think he got a couple of lay-ins and stopped this run. It was crazy. So Greg Hire is also a host on the podcast. So again, it comes up on YouTube, our BackChat YouTube, but you have to search for it, the BackChat Basketball Show on Spotify, Apple, all of that. And we'll come up there. That's
enough plugging for mine. So footy season is finishing. And that's what we are trying to do. So we'll continue to plug. We're trying to provide content for, I think there's no use beating around the bush here. We're trying to provide content for footy fans, which we know a lot of our audience are footy fans. When the footy's not on, trade period's about to finish. We're about to go into. There'll be a draft. There'll be a national draft. But in all honesty, we don't know these kids.
Nobody knows them. Yep.
What they've turned that into is a joke, because you're effectively like turning this huge scale event for these 17-year-olds that no one knows. Anyway, footy will quiet down for the summer, so we're creating content that people will want to enjoy. BackChat will be still here. We're absolutely dominating things here on BackChat, but there's just going to be another couple of little extra things. I mean, on the back of the basketball stuff, did you see Draymond Green punching a teammate in the face? I certainly did. Yeah. It came across Twitter for mine, and I said, Draymond Green's punched a teammate. Thought we'd get one of those little slaps across the face or little open hander. He has dead set. It looks like there's, it's hard. There's no audio, but it looks like they're having a few words. Draymond Green doesn't like what he's heard. He comes up in the grill of whoever this guy hits. Right, Jordan Poole. I don't know who that is, but that's why I'm not hosting the BackChat basketball show. They come right at each other. Jordan Poole looks like he stands up for himself. He's like, get out of my face, pushes him away. Yep. And from that moment, Draymond Green seems to have a fire lit in him. He runs at about full pace, 5 steps, and throws that absolute haymaker and knocks Jordan Poole out.
I've heard it described as a Superman punch, which is very accurate, because he does he launches towards him one-handed, and it's a full-on punch. I've heard it also called as a sucker punch, and people have debated whether or not Jordan was ready for it, but it's brutal. And the funny thing about that is that when that was first reported about a week ago, there was this thing Warriors teammates in a scuffle at training. Draymond Green struck Jordan Poole, and so people were like, that's teammates going at each other, no big deal. And then the video got released, and this is the best part. It's a video of a TV screen. So someone's filmed it on their phone. They filmed a TV screen of their practice and released it to TMZ. Now, I don't know how much money this Warriors employee got from TMZ to give them that video, but that has single-handedly almost brought Draymond Green down. So he's stepped away from the team. He's taken some time off. Wow. Because, at first, it was like, oh, yeah, he struck a teammate. They've sorted it out. He's apologized. It's fine. And now the video's come out, and people are like, no, that's not just a striking. That's a full-on punch. Has that ever happened for you? That's assault. Has that ever happened to you? Well, not to you, but have you ever seen that happen at footy training?
Yeah. I think it is a sucker punch. You don't expect to get punched at footy training. It's a physical game, and you certainly wouldn't expect to get punched in a basketball training session. But I've seen players come to blows. Shannon Hearn and Mark Nikoski got into a fight one day, and
who won?
I'm just trying to think. One of them walked away with a blood nose. I'm pretty sure it was Mark Nikoski.
I wouldn't want to fight Shannon Hearn.
No, Shannon Hearn doesn't take any shit, but he's not a fighter either. So Nikoski, a really fiery player, and it was just a scuffle that turned into a couple of fisticuffs, but it was more jumper punches, that sort of stuff. And you see that a lot in footy because it's a more physical game than basketball. But actually punching someone, don't know if, especially in the head, I've probably thrown some little rib ticklers around at training, and I've probably copped a few rib ticklers, and that's kind of part and parcel. But when you punch someone in the face and you knock them out, I think that probably is assault. So the fact that Big Draymond's, copping the heat. I actually wasn't following along. I was going to ask what had happened to him. So it sounds like he's sort of going in the bin. But if we keep it going down footy lane, because I don't want it to feel like we're going away from footy. There's been some stuff happening in footy land. It is trade period at the moment. Luke Jackson is a docker. That is absolutely right.
It's a fish.
I reckon it's almost a steal for the Dockers. It was sounding like they were going to. It was sounding like they were going to have to produce a couple of top 10s. They end up having to give pick 13, which was their first pick this year, a future first rounder. If they continue on the way they did this year, that won't be inside the top 10, and a future second rounder, which it's not irrelevant, but really it's about the first 2 rounders here. I reckon that's a steal. 2 picks outside the top 10 for Luke Jackson. I reckon they've done bloody well out of it, to be honest.
So you haven't been here for the Shelter Footy Cast that we released today. Hamish Brayshaw actually stepped in for you, who did a stellar job. He was he's very good, and he'll come back again.
Left. You're hosting podcasts, Hammer's hosting.
Okay. You can just stay up in Mandurah, mate. And so Hammer said that he sort of thought that maybe maybe it was a bit overs for Luke Jackson. Now, I don't think at the time he knew what picks were given, but he just thought the general hype around him was probably a bit overstated and said he's maybe not too big and tall for a starting ruckman position. And but he did say that perhaps he could become a bit like what Dan Const did as that fourth midfielder, and said that could be how he really, does things in the Fremantle midfield. So I'm very just interested to see what happens, how he works with Sean Darcy, I guess.
Yeah, like Dan Cox became a fourth midfielder, but he was a very good ruckman. Like, I don't know if Luke Jackson is that. Can he become that? Yes. There's been people throwing around, oh, he can go and play on a wing. I don't think he can go and play on a wing for Fremantle. Their wing structure and the way they play, their wingmen act as a seventh defender, and it's a really unrewarded running pattern that they allows their six-man defence to press up the ground, and the seventh winger kind of comes in behind them to take the one out the back. And I don't see Luke Jackson doing that.
Well, you don't give up a first round pick and a
No,
second for that player, I guess.
Yeah, correct. But the other thing is, I was sort of looking at it, and I think he would have been much more suited to West Coast in terms of a good fitting spot. Like with Freo, he's going to go in behind Sean Darcy, who's a very good ruckman in his own right. And Sean Darcy's the sort of ruckman that plays like 90% of game time, gets better as the game gets on. He sort of starts grinding away his opposition. He's that sort of guy. He's not really like a 1-2 punch kind of guy. Like Max Gawn, Luke Jackson were a bit in 2020. I don't see that kind of working as well at Fremantle, especially with Fremantle's forward line. Like if Luke Jackson's spending more time forward, he probably spends more time on the best defender than maybe he would like, because if Rory Lobb walks out the door, he suddenly becomes probably their best forward, with Tabita and Josh Tracy the only other keys down there with Griffin Logue out the door. I just don't know if it's a great landing spot for him. Whereas West Coast, adversely, Nick Natanui signs a new 2-year deal this year, so he's going to be doing what he's been doing, which is sort of 60% game time. He needs a second guy, which would have been Luke Jackson. And then Luke Jackson would have been playing in a forward line with better players than him, with Oscar Allen, with Jack Darling. So he gets the third defender. He starts wreaking havoc, floating across packs. And I was also thinking about Josh Kennedy, Jack Redden, Brad Shepherd, you've got to include as well, all off the books. West Coast probably had the cap space too. So it doesn't matter now. It's all done and dusted. But I was thinking maybe West Coast would have been a better landing spot for him, but he ends up at Freo. I think that in terms of their premiership window, it was just starting to creep open last year. They're right in it now, and he'll help them win a premiership. Like, there's no doubt about it. You can't say that he's a bad player. He's not going to. He's got potential. He's got huge potential, and he'll be a good player for them. It's just where they're going to play him.
I've got a hypothetical to throw at you, and it's trade week, and we're full of hypotheticals at this time. If West Coast
we're not, but other people.
No, that's right. If West Coast didn't trade for Tim Kelly, right? Let's just say they still end up with the same result in terms of draft picks. If West Coast didn't do that Tim Kelly trade, do you think they would have pulled the trigger on the Luke Jackson trade? Because do you think maybe they're like learning from we did that last time, it maybe didn't work out as well as we thought. Let's stick to what we've got with the draft.
Well, they're clearly positioning themselves to not repeat history and giving away five first rounders for one player. I'm over exaggerating, of course, but they've got pick 2 in this year's draft, and probably when this goes to air, it's probably done. The deal that's been spoken about between a mega deal between Port Adelaide, North Melbourne, GWS, and West Coast involves West Coast pick 2, and instead of West Coast using that pick 2 to go and get a player, they're actually going even harder on the draft. They're going to split that pick 2 into 2 picks. I've got this on a picture that I'm just pulling up right now. Pick 8 and 12. Pick 8 and 12. It means Rioli will get to Port Adelaide. It means Horn Francis will get Port Adelaide. GWS will get pick 1 from North Melbourne. West Coast pick 8 and 12 and maybe some future seconds and thirds. North Melbourne will get pick 2 and 3 and a future first. And then there's a whole bunch of other pick swaps happening on the back of it all. So West Coast are doubling down on draft prospects. And so to answer your question, they're clearly, I don't think the Luke Jackson interest was real. And they're clearly doubling down on a rebuild, getting more young players into the club instead of just a one superstar at pick 2. They're trying to double down on picks 8 and 12. If that super trade goes through, I don't reckon West Coast are coming out on top with that. They're losing Junior Rioli, so look at that how you want to look at it in terms of his form last year. But potentially he can be a very good player in a good team. They get a couple of picks. One of them's outside the top 10. They had pick 2. Only time will tell what pick 2 is versus 8 and 12. Is it the right thing? But they're using pick 2 and Junior Rioli for two firsts and then some future seconds and thirds. I don't know how that goes, but again, it's going to be a wait and see one.
Maybe because West Coast window is so closed of premiership. Like if Luke Jackson did end up on West Coast, like he's 5 years away from being on a team that's competing for a premiership, right? So I guess it makes sense for West Coast not to take him if they're thinking, well, we're not anywhere near where we want to be. What's the point in giving up something like that big if we're not going to be able to utilize his skill? Whereas
he's 21 years old. He's not going to develop into a full-time ruckman if that's what he becomes until he's 24, 25, 26. So that is kind of in the window that you'd want to happen. So he's not going to win Freo flag next year. They may win the flag next year, flagman on backchatpodcast.com.au/merch. But I don't know if he does it next year. So he probably needs some time to develop into the player he's going to be. But again, it doesn't actually matter, does it really?
Yep. Yeah. Let's step away from footy for a sec. I feel like you got your Shelter Footy Cast fix just there because you like to go, that was you at Shelter Footy Cast level, I reckon, talking picks and things like that. No, that's good. You need to get it out. And we're all footy fans. I want to go back to things that we were talking about last week, and that was some cheating in sport. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen some cricket cheating that happened yesterday.
Sorry,
you're just having it.
There's a hotel hallway just going off with kids apparently out there.
So there was some cheating in cricket yesterday, which we will get to in a second. But I want to give you a quick update on Hans Niemann or Nyman. Alleged cheating. So he enters a chess tournament last week sometime, and every competitor had to go through metal detectors and got scanned with one of those wand things that you see at the airport. Apparently, Hans is the only one that got the wand swipe on his backside. So they're doing the wand thing to check for any metal for some reason. I guess a pacemaker or something, or some sort of vibrating device that could show you
pacemaker.
To move.
If he has a pacemaker attached to his heart and he is getting cheating signals to his heart, mate, fucking good luck to you. Seriously, good luck to you.
So you see the video, he walks in and then he turns around and the guy with the wand swipey thing is like literally swiping his butt. And look,
so it was anal beads. There's no way around this. That's what he was using. Clearly,
well, he didn't in this instance. He didn't have them. I don't know how he's doing in that tournament, but he did get checked for it.
Could be made out of rubber.
That's true. I don't know what anal beads are made out of usually.
Yeah.
So Matthew Wade, cricket. Did you see this? So Australia T20 v England. He absolutely skies one. So he's on strike, gets a bit of a bouncer, tries to pull it. It goes straight up in the air. So it's still up in the air in the area of the pitch. Wade does this thing where he pretends like he's looking around like, where's the ball? Where's the ball? And in doing that, he sees the bowler who's going up for the catch, who's going to be right underneath it, and sort of like stiff arms him away from the ball so that he can't catch it. I don't know if there's any ramifications. I mean, a lot of people are talking about it online, but this is blatant cheating as like since Sandpaper Gate. Honestly, you literally just
settle down. Dan.
You pushed the guy out of the way so he couldn't catch and get him out, and England lost that game.
Well, England lost because they were shit, not because they didn't take a catch of Matty Wade. This is not cheating, Daniel, and you know it's not. And
you don't think that's cheating? What is it then?
It's certainly not in line with taking a sheet of sandpaper out in the field and sanding back a ball, mate.
Okay, look, maybe that was too far.
Hey, is Matty Wade bending the rules a little bit? Is he sort of, playing on the edge? Yeah, he is. But I think in terms of rating up playing on the edge, I think sandpaper in pocket is well over.
Okay. Yes,
putting arm across bowler as he tries to catch. Yeah, you could see his eyes. And in slow motion, mate, it's as I say with footy incidents, it's always very easy sitting on the pine, on the couch, having a couple of shelters or a couple of whippersnappers thinking, oh, well, that's easy. But it would happen in fast motion. Play on. He hasn't been charged, has he? Surely not, unless you're fucking in charge of it.
I just like to stay by the rules, and I didn't like that bit at all. Not one bit.
Just to finish off this little bit here, we do have a grand final coming up, Dan. And no, it's not the AFL. No, it's not the netball. No, it's not the basketball. No, it's not the cricket.
Not AFLW.
It's not the soccer. What is it?
It's not volleyball.
What is it?
It is our mascot best worst grand final. Now, look, I know we've what's the word? teased you with it.
Forgotten?
Forgotten. No, teased. I know I've teased you with it for the last couple of weeks, but it is happening. Right now, if you go online and look at it on our social pages, right now you can vote on it because it's being posted Monday evening. So it will still be live at the moment if you're listening to this on a Tuesday, and that will determine the winner of the best worst mascot. So it's between Grinder, the Fremantle Dockers man that has a giant square head, and Moz Skeeter Reynolds, the Essendon Bombers, big mosquito with the long nose. I feel like I know who's going to win, but you
know what? Like, people vote on different things. It could be the way it looks. It could be the absolute despicable way that Moz Skeeter has been named, because that's got to be one of the worst names you've ever heard. Grinder not doing too well there. We'll see who wins, but the winner gets a BackChat pack, or AKA a backpack. That's right. Backpack is going to be loaded with. It may not be a physical backpack, but it'll be if it is, it'll be loaded with our sponsors' stuff. We'll be getting all our stuff in there. If we can fit a house in there from Dean Bradley, we will do so. But the grand final is this weekend. This week on socials. Jump on there, vote. Make sure you enter with your email address, either through the stories, through our link in bio, or through our website, backchatpodcast.com.au, for your chance to win a backpack. It's going to be a giant random draw of anyone who's entered that at the end of it all. And what does the winner of the worst mascot get? What are we awarding the winner, Dan?
So Grinder or Moz?
Yeah.
Maybe just I don't know. Maybe we should
shelters. Try and track down the actual people that were inside the mascots and have a quick chat to them. That could be good on BackChat.
Yep. Keen for that for sure. In the pack, there's going to be these. I'm just looking at one now. There's the Margaret River roasting hats. Oh. They're very good. They're like, in terms of like companies with merch, they have very good merch. We're going to chuck in a Margaret River roasting cap and also a Margaret River roasting keep cup because they are elite. I've got one right here. I used it this morning for coffee. It is the best keep cup I've ever used in my life. Legit. I'm not just saying that because they're one of our sponsors. It is a very, very good keep cup. And I did hear something the other day at a cafe where someone was like, talking about I forgot my keep cup. And then this lady goes, yeah, well, come January, if you forget your keep cup, you won't be able to get a coffee because apparently in WA they're outlawing takeaway cups. Now, I don't know how true that is, but you may need a Margaret River keep cup. So put your name in the
if you want one, the only way to get one is to enter backchatpodcast.com.au. Okay, let's move it on to something we like to call this.
Oh, I butchered the sound because here we go. You said it, we read it. I'm pushing the buttons today and I pushed the wrong one.
Of course you did. Was it you send it, we read it? Is that right?
Yeah, it was. Okay, did you not hear it?
No, I'm not hearing any of it, but that's fine. That's why I was sitting here like a stun mullet. If you send us an email, we'll read it. That's right. hello@backchatpodcast.com.au. If you want to send us an email, we'll get through it, give us some talking points. It does make me think, off the top of this, brought to you by, of course, Leaderville Cameras. If you mention BackChat or tell them Scully said, you get $20 off a person, one purchase only, but that does happen. They sell cameras, they sell cords, they sell lighting, they sell everything, I think.
Yeah, they do.
I hope so.
Drones.
Anyway. Yeah,
drones. I always go on about the drones because
But it just makes me think. Now, I don't know if there's any emails on the back of it today, but I did want to mention at the top of the podcast, which I forgot about, but I want to speak about now. If you would like to be a correspondent, a BackChat roaming reporter. We see Roaming Charlie out there, live roaming reporter, speaking to the people. But if you would like to bring us content from other sporting worlds, we are hiring. What are we paying? Nothing. What will you get from it? Probably endless pride in knowing that you've done some great work that's produced for other people that want to listen to it. That's probably what's on offer right now. But we are hiring, Dan.
That's right. All you need to do is email us, and the email is hello@backchatpodcast.com.au, where you can also email, you send it, we read it.
Dan, I'm going to get into this and start reading, but I believe there was our first correspondent message from somebody that I can't see it in You Send It, We Read It, which tells me that it was either sent on social media or some other realm, because I can't, or you haven't taken it off this run sheet. But I really want to start and read that out while we're doing You Send It, We Read It. So is there a potential you could try and find that for me, Dan?
Yeah. You read the first one, and I'm going to find you this email.
This is brought to you by Leadable Cameras down at Oxford Street. Leadable, go see the guys down at Lydio. Down at Leadable Cameras. Lydio runs the joint down there, so just mention BackChat or Scope for $20 off. Now, let's get into it. Bo P. Hi, lads. Love the pod. Read the cheating segment. Okay, this is relevant. Just spoke about it. The poker hand between Robbie and Garrett was insane. This isn't to do with the cheating via the heart or other measures of vibration. This is to do with the young lady that took on the pro. That ended up folding and kind of, people thought she was cheating. So continuing on with the email. The reason people believe she was cheating is because she calls his all in with Jack high. So she could have played it off as a hero call, but after the hand, she says, I thought you had ace high, so I called. This would have had her way behind, so it makes no sense because she would have lost anyway. 100% cheating. Had to have been getting info from producing chairs. Okay, well, that's what Bo says. So
Right.
Okay.
There you go.
Did you find what I'm asking about?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay.
I've got someone about the NHL. That's the one, right? Yep.
Yeah,
I've got it in front of me. Okay.
Why don't you read it to me because it'll just keep bugging me because this is what I'm talking about for correspondence. If you follow a sport and you know it better than Dan and I, we'll take you on board. You can correspond. I think this is our NHL correspondent. Please go, Dan.
So, and to be honest, there'll be people that know about every sport better than us. G'day, BackChatters. As a WA expat now residing in Canada, I'd like to apply for the position of NHL correspondent for BackChat Media.
Hired.
I know this position doesn't exist yet, but would be some great off-season sports news to follow. Ice hockey obviously does not have a huge popular sport back at home, but I think a lot of AFL fans in particular would enjoy it if they had an introduction to it. Very true. Okay. There are 32 teams in the league, so a full introduction might take a little too much time, but I thought I would give it a small breakdown on a few teams and stories to watch out for this year and follow along with. Okay, nice. So this is me doing it for Elliot here.
Thank you, Elliot.
So Nathan Walker, St. Louis Blues. Are they the St. Louis Blues in there or is it Louis? I don't know. I've already butchered it.
That's why we're not NHL.
So Nathan Walker is the lone Aussie in the league. Made a bit of a name for himself last season with his first career hat-trick and played a bottom six role for a playoff team. He would be a great guest for the pod.
Yes, he would. Yes.
Write that one down. The Philadelphia Flyers went from cup contenders to 29th in the league last year. Fired their coach and hired the equivalent of Mick Malthouse to change the culture of the team this year.
Wow.
Very good.
Love
so that's the Philadelphia Flyers.
Okay.
Colorado Avalanche, probably my favorite team name, won the Stanley Cup last year. Looked to be starting a dynasty with their best players all locked under contract for the next 6 to 8 years. Consider them like a Richmond circa 2017.
All right. Sounds like if we're going to get on a winner, we're going to support. Who was that? That was the Avalanches. Okay, Colorado.
Yep. Arizona Coyotes, the worst franchise in the league. The worst franchise in the league, closest to being moved. Consider them North Melbourne without the history. They're playing in a university stadium this year with a capacity of 5,000 people.
Holy
Love that.
Shit. Okay.
The Edmonton Oilers. This doesn't sound like a team name. A team on the rise led by Connor McDavid, the best player since Wayne Gretzky. He is like Gary Ablett Jr. at his peak. He won league MVP in 2016 and 17 in his second year and has dominated the league from then on. What a guy. Can he add to his trophy cabinet and continue to challenge for GOAT status?
Oh, that I could be on the Oilers.
Edmonton Oilers, get around Connor McDavid. And finally, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the largest of all NHL teams, the center of the hockey universe. They have Austin Matthews on track to become the greatest US-born hockey player of all time. Wow. They are perpetual chokers and have not made it past the first round of playoffs since 2004. Classic case of the collywobbles for Toronto.
Ooh.
Love that. Hopefully these mini breakdowns pique your interest and you follow along with the league. If you want some more coverage and a weekly wrap-up of let me know. Thanks, Elliot.
Yeah,
I think that's very good, Elliot.
Yeah, absolutely, we do. I think we should ply our trade to NFL a little bit and mix that in with AFL news as well. So if you do want to...
NFL as well would like... You're happy for a bit of an NFL wrap from someone?
Absolutely. I'm happy for a squash wrap, seriously. You want to give us a sport, you want to talk about it, I reckon we'll... Look, we do. If we say you send it, we read it. So I can't even say what I was going to say, which is if you send it and it's a bit shit, we won't read it. We're going to have to. You send it, we read it. As we continue on, Phil writes in. G'day, Phil. Nice to hear from you again. G'day, fellas. Cricket season is here, and we could have the next Ricky Ponting right under our nose.
Okay.
There's a young Mandra lad. Where the fuck? Surely Mandra's that small. He's probably within 500 meters of me right now, and he's got a great name, Teague Wiley. That is great. who has
Love
just
that.
cracked into the WA Shield side. In his third Shield game, he has just made his first 100, becoming the youngest player to do so since Ricky Ponting. That's
Huge.
a great feat in itself, but there's more. Teague was also a member of the drought-breaking Shield-winning side. His second game, Skeeter. Keep a close eye on this kid and his young Rockingham Mandurah district teammate, Corey Wasley.
Yeah, Wesley. Yeah,
Big
Skeet's
Bash
not
cult
here, but
hero.
we'll tell him. Yeah.
Big Bash cult hero Craig Simmons could be a popular guest for the cricketing world. Great initiative in driving the blood donations. I'm currently up to donation 30 myself. Fuck, Philip, very good. Number one, it's for a great cause. Number two, you can finish up with a beef traveller's pie and a Nippy's iced chocolate. You can't beat a Nippy's iced chocolate. I'll take that every day of the year over a FOF. Keep up the great work. That's from Phil. Thank you, Phil. He is speaking in relevance to a bit of a blood donation drive, just a little one. If you don't want to do it, certainly not going to force it down anyone's neck. But my brother diagnosed with cancer earlier this year. He's doing a blood donors, new 1,000 blood donors. He's trying to drive through Lifeblood Australia. So if you do want to join that, the team is Team Long Live Jace Nelson. All the links are on our socials and on our website if you want to join up to that. But thank you very much, Phil.
Very good.
Was there any questions? No. Once again, though, cricket.
No, the newest Ricky Ponting. Great.
Yeah, great.
Tell us more about him.
Thank you. Josh, this is from Josh Grace. Oh, no. It's his name. I didn't read his email, but I can say Josh.
Yep.
Thank you. He says, please don't read my email address out loud. No worries, Josh.
We won't.
I thought it said name. I was like, oh, no, Josh, I've absolutely cooked you. G'day, Scoey, Dan, Charlie, and Butsy, in case he's there. He is not here, but...
Soon. Very soon.
Soon.
Mm-hmm.
Apologies for the lack of underscores in my email account. Apology accepted. I did change my Instagram handle to G_. I won't going to finish that off just in case you want to protect yourself there as well, Josh. Spelling out the underscore. Oh, that's right. It's G_, and then he spelt it. You got it. Dan might like that. Did you like it, Dan?
Loved it. Loved it.
There was a bit of criticism for you, Dan. I might just pause you in the email that the new BackChat podcast that you're running, the actual username has gone BackChat basketball instead of course, BackChat basketball _. Perhaps you're missing an underscore there, mate.
No, I do what I want. It's my show.
Long time listener, first time emailer. Absolutely whack. Very good. I think that it was that it was awesome how you highlighted Lifeblood Australia and all the heroes that donate. Would like to give a shout out to my local Lifeblood Centre in Bunbury, just up the road from Shelter. The staff at Lifeblood Bunbury are amazing. And for me, who is not in a financial position to donate money to charities by donating blood, plasma, or platelets, you are helping someone who might not survive without this donation. I would like to encourage anyone who is able to go and donate to help save lives. Exceptional stuff there, Josh. Just
Very
don't
good.
even
Love
listen to
that.
me. Listen to Josh. Also, more of a fanboy statement. My first game of AFL I saw was Gold Coast v West Coast 2014 at Subiaco, where I was witness to one Will Schofield perform a Houdini act by spinning out of a tackle backwards and firing off a pass out of full back. This was the game where Gov kicked the goal from the goal line with a few minutes left to win the game. Thanks for an amazing podcast. No worries,
I think
Gracie.
you've showed me that highlight before.
I looked. I can't remember. There's so many.
I think I've watched your highlight reel a few times, and you've pointed that one. You love that one, the spinning out of the tackle in the back line.
It's happened quite a few times, so you may be confused with maybe another time happened. It's quite a long highlight reel too. Aaron McKay, g'day, as how are you, mate? Hi, gents. Will, listening to the potty yesterday, I've sent the details over to the. This is great. This is great.
People getting around it.
Yes, Lifeblood teams managers here in WA, Dave and the crew should be able to help you and your brother easily grow the team to 1,000. Unfortunately, I don't have any snip stories to share. Very good, Aaron. Thank you for sharing with the guys
Go get
over at
one
Lifeblood.
then and write about it.
I'm actually missing some snip stories. I haven't given a reminder of late, but if you do have a snip story and you know what that is, please send them through. We like to make Dan a little bit weirdly. Would you like to read this one, Daniel?
Yeah, as Damo did say, the segment will be called You Snip It, We Read It.
Very good.
We will introduce that. This is from Ben. Who messages people on Instagram? I mean, on LinkedIn. My phone keeps buzzing with LinkedIn messages. I can't even speak. Ben Partington.
Are you getting
job
are you getting
offers
poached?
from?
You're getting
Yeah, I
poached?
think so.
Okay.
Hi guys. With all the talk about player movement and the detrimental effect it can have on the weaker clubs, I was wondering what you guys thought of this as a possible solution.
Okay.
Firstly, I'm a huge West Coast fan, and I much prefer the idea of supporting a core group of players that remain loyal to the one club, striving for a premiership. Whilst acknowledged, there will always be understandable reasons why a player may desire to leave a club: opportunities, family reasons, better KFC options, etc. You know what? Just quick sidebar: in the eastern states of Australia,
Yes.
KFC doesn't have hot and spicy. They don't offer that as an option. So
That's
if you're an AFL player out there and you're listening to this and you love KFC, WA has hot and spicy all the time. Anyways,
What's up?
I'm also a big supporter of a more even competition. I like the way the draft system is set up with the team finishing last receiving the first pick and believe the tanking issue is overblown. However, I do dislike these arbitrary concessions given by the AFL for long-term poor performance a la North this year.
Yeah.
I agree. How about, on top of the draft order being set up as it is, the teams also receive salary cap concessions based on the order they finish. Say, for example, the base salary cap is $4 million. I'm making up numbers. I don't know what the actual number is. Then each team could receive, say, an extra
20,000. Ooh, 200,000.
200,000, for example, based on where they finish for that year to help lure a free agent. So the team that finishes first in the home away season can only use the base $4 million, and the team that finishes second, and so on, all the way up to 18th. I actually like that. I mean, you could tinker around with the edges, obviously, on the amount, etc., but it would help decentivize good players wanting to play for the best clubs. The main downside I can see is people will raise the tanking issue again, potentially. However, it could be used in conjunction with, or perhaps as a standalone alternative, with loyalty bonuses for sticking with the one club outside of the salary cap. This would mean handsome and loyal players such as Will Schofield would have had received extra payments he deserved. What do you think? I've never heard of BackChat and I'm unfamiliar with its content. Kind regards, Ben.
What?
I don't know. That was just the end part of the email.
What is happening right now?
Can I just chime in with the extra money for loyal players? Is that a thing off the bat?
What do you mean?
Can clubs offer players who have played for their team more money than other clubs?
No. Oh, as in.
So
I
for
don't
instance, like I love taking it to basketball, of course. In the NBA, right?
Oh no,
if you
there's no.
Yeah, so you can offer someone like an extra $20 million.
Franchise tag. No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That should. I think that should exist. It doesn't. I mean, the issue with the proposal here, which was a really well written article, Ben, I appreciate it, would be, for instance, contracts that last more than one season, right? And so,
Yep.
It would become difficult and confusing when a North Melbourne rebuilds their list to become competitive and they have all these concessions from years gone by and players are sort of the salary cap would be very difficult to maintain because, okay, you have 5 shit years in a row and then you've got like all these different players on heaps more money and then you become good and then what your salary cap goes back down. I think
You'd
probably
lose them
just,
all.
but like you could change the wording instead of talking about salary cap. It would be like just bonuses, and they sit outside the salary cap, and it would be like draft bonus concessions or draft salary concessions, and you'd have to like they'd be compulsory use. Like you'd have to pay a bonus to a player in trade period, for instance. Like you'd have to pay
you have to
a
spend
marquee.
it like end of financial year. You have to spend the money.
But we are missing in the AFL, like marquee player status, franchise tag status. We are missing those sort of movement things, and I'm probably not the greatest expert on all of that. I do think overall, we are risking losing an evenness in competition, which I might add is almost the main driver of most levers that are pulled within the AFL is to equalise the competition, whether it be through travel, through fixture, through trade, through salary cap. All of it is to equalise the competition. And the way it is now, it makes more sense to go and play for a good team. And so, trade period, Geelong, it makes sense to go there, and then it's easy to move there. So why wouldn't you? Like why would you go and play for North Melbourne? So I don't know what it is. I don't know the solution, but I do think you're onto something there, Ben, and appreciate the email. That's all it. That's it for you. Send that we read it. We're going to move on to fines. I'm feeling fine.
Yes.
Dean Bradley, local real estate man, inner western suburbs. Yes, Dan's got the bloody baton. What is it?
Finally, gavel.
Do you feel good? Does it feel powerful in your hand?
Yeah, very. Yeah, I really want to hit something with it, but I don't want to break it. I'm just
You're there
going to
by yourself, so don't hit yourself.
No.
Ooh, that's quite loud.
There we
Very
go.
good.
Sorry.
Fines in session. Dino, as we've mentioned, is matching fines for the season. So we'll raise an amount of money and we'll start doing some activations after I get back from Mandurah with some of our charities. Our three big ones for the year have been
Sabre.
Men's Talk, Sabre, and Soccer to Sarcoma. Men's Talk's got some big events coming up, so we'll get around them. Soccer to Sarcoma, we're going to get around them. And Sabre, of course, a dog charity here in Perth. We'll be looking after them. And we're putting on the back of this the lifeblood stuff. So if you do want to donate to people who need it around Australia, Team Long Live Jace Nelson, just go to my.donateblood.com.au, create account. You can find all of that in our links, in our bio. Jump on there. My brother Jace is trying to get 1,000 new donors, and we've had quite a few new sign-ups, as we heard earlier in the show. Fines in session. Let's go. No rebuttals, no replies. Fine your mate, fine us, fine yourself. Get it done. Or be like Stephen Carney and fine his wife. Stephen has tuned in. First fine of the day, $5.50 to his wife. In 2020, see, like this is what fines is about. Not only has he not forgotten something from 2020, he has the balls to fine his wife here on a public show. We bloody love it. In 2020, we had a talk about how many kids we should have. Maybe we do have a snip story here. She said 4, I said 3, seeing that we already have 2. We figure out the best time to try. So when our baby is born, our eldest son would be 4 and our youngest son would just turn 2. Wow, popping them out.
I love the planning.
Yeah, we try and succeed. We go for the scan, and boom, identical twin girls. Fine is $1 per kid, 50 cents per pregnancy.
That's great.
That's very good. Unlucky, Steve. There you go. $5.50 to your beautiful wife. Adam Brown finds the AFL $100. Now, Adam, as much as I would like to find the AFL, it means I'm going to rip you back to $1, unfortunately. This all goes back to one of the episodes with Sam Butler, and he mentioned in an Adelaide game that one of their defenders lost their mind. That would be Nathan Bassett, by the way.
Yep.
Anyways, I emailed the AFL chasing a copy of that game. Holy shit. Okay, here we go. Please read the emails for evidence for our fine worthiness. I can already tell you before I read these emails that this is worthy of more than a $1 fine. So I'm going to bump it to $5. My email. Hey there, my name is Adam Brown. The reason for this email is that I'm chasing the video footage replay of the game West Coast versus Adelaide, round 17, 2006. I have trawled through YouTube and checked the AFL app, but can't seem to find the video. I contacted the West Coast Eagles, and they told me that the AFL owns the copyright, and so the club couldn't give me the video. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to contact the club about this. I was hoping that the AFL itself has a dusty vault with CDs, DVDs, VCR recordings of old games. If so, I would love the replay. Thanks, Adam. Okay, so that's a reasonable request right there.
Great, yeah.
The reply, hi, Adam. It's a very short reply. Thanks for your request. I will be able to provide you both of the matches.
Amazing.
I should let you know, however, the full match replays sent to you are $100 each. Can you please confirm if you're happy to proceed at that price, and I will organise the matches to be sent to you. Cheers. I'm going to leave the name off
$100 each. That's outrageous behaviour, AFL.
Well, man at the AFL, I can confirm that we are not happy with that amount per price. How about $1 each? How about you give us to $1 each?
That's rough.
All right, what we need here, BackChat community, round 17, 2006, West Coast versus Adelaide. We need this footage. Can you please send it to us, BackChat community?
Could you imagine just the accounts lady at the AFL, right? What's the turnover at the AFL? Millions, right?
A lot, mate.
Millions.
They just did a TV rights deal for billions of dollars. So
exactly. And so some accounts person at the AFL is writing an invoice to, what's this chap's name? Adam, for $100. Come on, AFL.
Yeah,
that's
chuck behaviour. We're gonna find that. We're gonna get that footage for free, and I'm gonna absolutely rub it in the AFL's face. Nick Lowry, and then we'll probably get copyrighted and trademarked. Pulled off.
Yeah.
Nick Lowry writes in a fine for Jack Redden, $2, $1 for constantly covering his face with hand gestures with the new camera angles. Thank you, Nick. I agree. Probably our fault, but let's put it on Reddo. $1 for retiring while he still looks 14. Surely there's more left in the body. Very good.
Yeah.
Nick's followed up with
Fair.
another fine for BackChat podcast. Okay, I'm going to read this one out, but I don't know if you're going to love this, Nick. $2. Please confirm that it is a West Surfing logo on the new podcast desk. Did you flog it from a Vergeside rubbish collection outside of City Beach store? Please advise required dimensions and other requirements, allowances for mic stands, cable management, etc. And I will make you a desk. Not committing, well, just wait, not committing to when, and it will just be made out of normal wood rather than recycled skateboards, but I can do it if needed. Oh, there's a lot to unpack here. Okay, Nick, I know that there's no rebuttals or replies, but I just need to add a bit of context. $2 fine, we will take that on board. Yes, sure. It is a West Surfing logo.
And yes, it is sick.
Yes, it is good. No, we did not get it from Vergeside Collection. It is the original boardroom table from the original West Surfing. So if you could be more West Australian, I don't know if you could. We've got our hands on it. I won't say how we have. If you want to do a little bit of research, you want to just maybe have a look at my family tree, perhaps. I think you'll find how the West Surfing is, in fact, attached to it. And Dan, do we want a bloody new desk?
Yeah, I mean, yes. How could you say no to a desk?
Well, you almost did. You didn't sound very excited. You know what, Nick? Make us a table. We'll send you the dimensions. Sounds bloody excellent.
No dumb. Yeah, that's right.
And I'll work on Dan's excitement levels. Finn sends in a $2.50 fine. I'll fine Dan $1 for not being excited about a new desk. Next fine, $2.50. Finn signs in for not signing up to BackChat Patreon sooner. He's finding himself. Okay. Side note, long-time listener, first-time finer. Very good. I've just heard your recent podcast where you talked about your brother and his fight with cancer and his mission to get 1,000 donors of lifeblood. This brought back memories of my father who fought cancer for the past 3 years. Unfortunately, he lost his battle about 2 months ago. Very, very sorry to hear that, Finn. Terrible news, mate. This has made me hit rock bottom, but he still helped others right till the end, and I want to continue his legacy of helping others. So I've signed up for the team, Long Live Jace Nelson team.
Amazing.
For Lifeblood donor team, I personally want to find myself 10 cents per mil of blood I donate and send it to you guys to pass on to the chosen charities. Man, Finn, that's fucking exceptional stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes we get stuff sent through to the podcast that stops me on tracks a little bit. That is one of them. Finn, you're a fucking legend, mate. Legend. Well done. Nick Lowry, you've come back for more. $2 fine, Dan Const. I will not say no to that. Not calling the BackChat Basketball Instagram page BackChat Basketball _. Only one underscore, and it's in the wrong place. No reply, Dan. $2. You've already replied. Shut up. Jason fines Mark Skeeter Reddings $5 after calling members of the Waffle On numpties who talk crap and asking himself why he reads it all on the pod prior to the Waffle Grand Final. He then got on the Spears Saturday night, woke up Sunday morning and made his initial post. Head wobbling with excitement and having a crack at everyone, including his ex-colleague, John Townsend. This went as well as you'd expect. Fine for every $1 per head wobble as he posted.
Love that.
That's unreal.
We spend a lot of time just reading the comments on it. Love it. It's good. Mate, Mark Reddings, who doesn't use social media, just goes on and turns a Facebook group upside down with some of his comments. It's very good.
2 to go. Big Kev makes an appearance. Hello, Big Kev. $2.50. Another big night out for Big Kev that consisted of one too many beers. He binned it literally. Hosted a cocktail night for his uni group. Went to empty the bin. Thought the best way to do so would be get on top of the skip bin and lift the rubbish in that way. Ended up in the skip bin, covered in bin juice. Nice expensive white shirt is now yellow, and nice expensive pants now have a tear in them. $2.50 Big Kev. Even if they're getting made up. Well, even if I'd love to speak to Big Kev. If there is a way that we can speak to him, please get in contact with the show. You can send it in via how you do the fines, which is on backchatpodcast.com.au/fines. Ethan Rudd fines Dan. This is the last one. $5, a big whopping one, for having the balls to say we don't care about that when asking the BackChat opener on the basketball pod. Grow a set if you want to be the main man. What's he talking about, Ethan? I'll give you
Do you give me a right reply here?
Yeah, I do.
So on the first
but you'll be fined $5 regardless.
Yeah, that's fine. On the first episode of the BackChat Basketball Show, which you can find, just search for it, we had John Riley, the Perth Wildcats head coach. Yes. And part of the interview, like, it's not a full BackChat interview, but we did dive into some of his history and stuff. I did say to him, hey, look, the first question we always ask people is what, your greatest sporting achievement, not on the basketball court, right?
Good. Okay.
But I didn't say to him, like, I know all the things you've done. I don't care, right? So Ethan's having a go at me for not having the balls
For being a pussy, yeah.
of doing the Will Schofield shtick. But it's not a BackChat show. We do things.
Okay.
A little
I just
bit
wanted context. No, I didn't want an excuse. I just wanted context. I've heard the context. It's a fair fine, $5. You've been a pussy. You should have told him you don't care, because that's the whole point of it. BackChat _. That's the end of it. You know where to find us on socials. hello@backchatpodcast.com.au. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episode from Mandra. It's been fun. Thanks for signing up on Patreon. We're going to hang around and chat to our patrons. So if you want to hear what we have to say, here's a little back-end teaser. We're going to have a chat to our patrons just after this. Thanks to our supporters, our sponsors, Whippersnapper, the makers of the best whiskey in the world, Margaret River Roasting Co., Bluebet, Shelter Brewing Co., Leadable Cameras, and of course Dean Bradley. VIP codes for patrons across with those guys. Backchatpodcast.com.au, all the gear. Let's chat patrons.
Yes, go.